we must always remember to have some time for self-care in the sense that we must look after our inner world. Your inner world wants to hear you say, I love you, and thank you, you're doing well. Whatever emotions we are dealing with, the trauma we're dealing with, process the emotions, because it's when it's not processed that it becomes an unresolved frustration.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Ask the Multifamily Expert. Sorry we started very late. Our guest was having technical issues, but right now she's here and we'll go right into it. Once again, my name is Bibi Ofiri. I am the host of Ask the Multifamily Expert, and one of the reasons why we are doing the Ask the Multifamily Expert is to ensure that people have access to professionals or people that are leaders in different aspects of multifamily. They can ask their questions directly to them. Very important, because me, for an example, when I was starting my multifamily journey, I didn't have that access to anyone to really ask those questions I would have loved to know. So this is a way of we giving back to the community. Today is a very, very interesting topic, and I have with me one of the real estate professional that will help us break it down. She's not a real estate professional, but she knows a lot about this aspect of the topic. So today's topic is closing the chapter, finishing strong and start clear. And this topic is very much on purpose. And the reason why we are talking about it is because of where we are currently. This is the last month of the year. And I know some of you are beating yourself really hard and you're saying to yourself, this is December, I've not achieved anything, or I did not achieve what I said I was going to achieve, or whatever it is that you are saying right now to yourself. It's time for you to pause and let's see how we can figure this out together. I have with me Joy Okobi. Truth be told, she's my elder sister and I'm happy to have her here. And one of the reasons why I brought her here is because, one, she's a coach, and not just being a coach, she has helped me throughout the stage. So I'm going to lay the foundation before I invite her to introduce herself. So multifamily can be very, very hectic and very emotional, and you need a lot of strong people around you to keep you going, because it could be very, very frustrating. I remember times I felt really down. Some of you don't think I feel down. I really feel down sometimes, but I have someone that always helped me. Sometimes she gives me exercise to do, different things to do to keep me going and all that. And that has really helped me in achieving a lot. So I'm really super excited to have her. I would like to call on our guest today, Joy Okobi. Can you please introduce yourself to our community?
Hey everyone, lovely to be here. Thank you for having me, Bibi, my dear sister. And at the bottom part of the world, and this is 4 a.m.-ish, after 4 a.m.-ish. So I'm here, right here in Australia, and a coach, a life coach, relationship, and also business leadership coach. My job here is to help individuals and business leaders to reignite connection, embrace self-compassion, and people to rediscover their purpose, because it could get lost when you're doing life, right? So I do this with proven methodologies here, and people get lots of results. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you for coming. I forgot to mention, guys, she's in Australia and this is 4 a.m. This is around 4 a.m. in that country. So thank you so much for creating this time for us. So let's go right into what we have for today. So I have some questions for you. And number one is, what are some key strategies for reflecting on and celebrating achievement from the past year? Before you go, I remember when you asked me a question, you said, do you even celebrate your wins at all? And I said, they are not significant. Why should I celebrate them? So this question, I really want you to answer it so that the guests can understand why this is important.
Lovely. Such a great question, because like you said, we can get lost in hitting goals after goals, smash the first goal, you're looking towards the next one, that's it. And forget that we're making progress, and we need to give ourselves a pat on the back for the progress, for the milestone progress we're making. So this is super important. Yeah, and I'm very passionate about people having to celebrate their wins, and that's part of what I'll be talking about in this question.
So how do we celebrate our wins?
How do we celebrate our wins? Our wins are, first of all, it might just be the little progress you've made. It might not be the gigantic one. So even as little as it could be, what we can do is, when we have made that little success, what we can do is just pause and sit with all of that moment, sit with the win, sit with the joy. There's some people who, even after they have made some wins, would just brush that win aside, not really taking that time to just savor that moment. But that's not what we're meant to always do, because at the end of the day, we'll be running empty. Celebrating our wins help us fill up our tank, fill up our cup. So it's super important to celebrate, sit with it. And it doesn't even have to be throwing a party, inviting friends over. You can actually be celebrating your win with a glass of water, sitting in your own quietness and just savoring that moment and telling yourself you did well. You did well. I appreciate you for doing well.
Yeah, I remember when we used to have that conversation and you brought it to me and I started doing that, celebrating my win. So sometimes I'll just take out time to rest. I think that was my own way of celebrating my win. Or sometimes I just praise myself and say, oh, give myself a tap at the back. What that did for me was to like reboot me or reset me to face the next challenge. So I really, really think I think everyone should be doing it. So we have
Awesome.
another question from someone, and the person says, how can someone identify and learn from the challenges they faced in 2024? 2024 really was very challenging for me, especially, and I'm sure it was for some other people. In the US, we faced serious inflation, and people did not have enough access to money. 2 years before now, there was a lot of money in the economy. People were spending, people were doing all that, but come 2024, it became a lot more difficult for so many people that could achieve some things to not to achieve them any longer. So how would you say that someone should create? What are the clear actions someone can create in 2025 in achieving that?
Okay, so the question here, if I get you correctly,
Yes.
is
How
how
can
can we
someone
identify
identify and learn
and
from the
learn?
challenges? Yeah.
Beautiful. First of all, challenges are a normal part of life, like we all know. And these challenges should be normalized, first of all, because it's when we see it as some sort of failure or some sort of setback that it looks like a surmountable place. We stay in that loop. With challenges, how we can identify them, it's pretty simple. Just as we have our high moments and we can identify the times that we're most happy, the times that we were feeling most accomplished. That's the same way we can identify challenges. Challenges are often reading with low moments, those are the times we feel the lowest in our lives. And I believe that many of us have had those moments. It's been a mix of highs and lows for everyone, like you have just said. So we can identify it by just reflecting on the times that we experienced those low times where we felt defeated, because those emotions are indicators that something had happened, an event had happened, which might have been a challenge, might have been a struggle. So that's how we can identify the challenges. And to the other question here, how do we learn from those challenges? And just like I said, when we normalize the challenges, we don't beat ourselves up anymore. We can see those challenges as perhaps blessing in disguise, because it was an opportunity for us to grow. If those challenges were not there, we would not grow.
Let me say this. I remember when I recently relocated to the US, and as an immigrant, you just have to start from the beginning and all that. That was a very difficult challenge for any of us that was just coming into a country, because one, you're starting afresh. So, but you get to start appreciating that kind of challenges later on, because if you were not, because you're coming into the country with, let me put it in quotes, a lot of pride, because maybe in your former country, you were the CEO, you were everything to everyone, you had so many employees, but when you relocate, you now see yourself becoming at the lowest bottom of the entire process and all that. And that thing can actually break you if you are not careful. So I think what that did to me personally was it changed my mindset, my orientation. So like you said, just meant to normalize it, and then it's supposed to help you grow. And for me, that was what helped me grow. The moment I said, okay, this is the worst it can be, what else can happen? What else can be worse than this? I think that was when I normalized it, first of all, then that was when I started treating it and I started moving forward and all that. So the next question from one of our audience is, let me take a breath on this. How do you recommend balancing personal and professional goals while planning for a new year? And let me say this, The
Mm,
reason why this question, I think I love it, is because when you have a family and you are doing business,
mm,
especially when you are alone or single with children and all that, it's a different ball
mm.
game. So
Yeah.
how do you balance up family life and business in 2025? Because I know some people have not been able to have that balance, because sometimes you might be moving over to more business than family, or sometimes more family than business. How do we create that balance?
Well, that's a tough one too, because balance is what we all struggle with, personal versus the professional life. Yeah, what I think here is when it comes to setting some balance, the first thing to do is actually figure out where we are at in our personal life and where we are at in our professional life, and see the list of activities that are going on in our lives, and then can start seeing clearly, seeing which activity is overlapping the other one, conflicting, that not they're just routines that keep you busy but not really giving you any benefit, right? So we can be able to see clearly first, and then it will help us begin to prioritize what needs to come forward, be at the top, and the ones we need to do away with. Because if we're not careful, we could just burn out, right? And I also believe that at some point we can merge some of the activities, personal activities, and the professional together. If we're able to figure out what's most important to us, and we see that let's say, for instance, health, looking after your health is your personal goal, personal activity, and work, you have to also be in the right place to function. And so if you look at that, you see that they are both same. So what you can do is merge those two goals together. And instead of having to, separate the time for this, you can actually just spend the same time
Together.
to achieve both. Yeah. So I believe that we can achieve balance that way, really.
Yeah, I also think that if we're able to sit our family down, and
Hmm.
there's one thing as families that we want to do is we need to sit down and start planning together. Because when you are able to plan together with your family, you will be able to understand where your need is overlapping someone else's, and you can now create a balance. Okay, as a wife or as an husband, if the both of you can decide in December, let's go for a quiet time, what's your plan? Because everyone should have their own plan. And by the time you guys are able to align your individual plans, you can now fine-tune it that you can get involved in each other person's plan, or know when someone is supposed to be doing this and you are supposed to be taking care of the
Yeah.
kids, or when the person is supposed to be taking care of the kids, I'm supposed to be doing that. So I think when you are able to involve your family, I think that can create some clarity and help. I don't know if you have anything to say about that.
Yeah, I think you've just said it all. I believe that we can even be creative with it, even with our family members, because there is no point wasting time doing things when you can do things with family. There's no point spending time or wasting time doing things individually when you can actually maximize the time and even have
Together.
more quality time together. Yeah, so you're so right on
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. The next question I have is, what role does resilience, emotional resilience, play in finishing the year strong and starting fresh? I have a story. Like I said, multifamily can be very, very emotional and very, very stressful.
Mm,
Remember when we were
yeah.
trying to raise money some time ago? The stress was so much. And I know that my team members really, really felt it. And after we closed, we had, I think all of us had trauma. It took us time to step into the next deal, because we were like, if
Mm,
this is how it is, I don't want to be part of this again. It's too stressful. As in the anxiety, you can't even compare. So some people took a break, and guess what? Some people are not even back. Some people that did that deal with me are not investing again. They're like, I don't think this is for me and all that. So when you're coming out from that kind of situation whereby you want to become financially free, but the emotions you need to put in it, or the kind of work you need to put into it, can even make you say, I'm done. I can't do it again. How do you
yeah.
navigate that in this coming year?
Mm. Well, it's pretty simple here. I understand the challenge of how kind of work you do as a real estate investor, how tough it can be and challenging. Well, what I'll say here is must always remember to have some time for self-care. Self-care in the sense that we must look after our inner world, because
Mm,
it's in the inner world
mm,
that's where you have all the emotions going on, frustrations and burnouts. Everything is happening right there in the inner world. So we often do not pay attention to that. We we pay attention to more of the outward world, external world, where we do exercise and all of that. But there is that inner world that is craving our attention. So in 2025, we can begin to pay more attention to looking after our inner world, where we sit with whatever emotions we are dealing with, the trauma we're dealing with, process the emotions, because it's when it's not processed that it becomes an unresolved frustration. For instance,
I have a question. So
you,
how do you process
yeah,
such? Yeah, so given the
yeah,
scenario I gave you, we finished a very difficult deal we could hardly raise, and we
yeah.
finally closed. So what should we have done after closing?
All right. So first of all, you have self-compassion. You try to be kind with yourself, have that talk with yourself, and think about how the whole process went and how it's really affecting you. Have a self-talk. Have a self-talk with you and get to the root of why you're feeling that way. And by the time you're at that point where you figured out why you're feeling that way, then you will start feeling heaps better. Sorry, that's the way we speak here. Heaps.
Yeah.
Lots better.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so you are so right, because I remember speaking with you after we closed and you took me through a process and all that. But as a team, what you can do as a team is for you guys to debrief, just like what
Yeah.
she just mentioned now. You can debrief and see where things went wrong or how you could have fixed it. So for us, what we did was that we had a general meeting. We celebrated ourselves. First of all, we were so happy
Lovely.
that we closed. Then afterwards, we were like, okay, so where do we go from here? Because we literally took a hard money loan to bridge the gap. What do we do
Yeah.
from here? Another, so we debriefed and we started strategizing. So you can do that in 2025. You can debrief, like what she said, have an inner talk with yourself. With that, it will help you trace the root cause. And from there, you can start moving. Yes. So the next question to you is, what tools or techniques do you suggest for setting meaningful goals? I love goals that aligns with
Goal
one's
setting.
value. Let me repeat it again because I really want you to hit this really hard. What tools or techniques do you suggest for setting meaningful goals that aligns with one's value?
Beautiful. Goal setting. I love goal setting topic. All right. I love what you said. Aligns with one's goals and
Values.
Values. Values is the most important word there, because values are those things that matter so much to us, that matters to us. And imagine setting goals and you were just setting goals. It doesn't have anything to do with you. It's like
It's
heading
not
in the wrong
you.
direction. And you know what values does? Values are like the compass of our lives. It helps give direction of our lives. It's what's important to us that gives direction. Why? So having understood that, it's easy to now begin to figure out, craft a vision, create a vision, because it is from what's important to you that you can actually see beyond. You can be inspired to dream. So in that place, you're able to create a vision. So from what matters to you, you get on to creating that vision. And then from that vision, you now get on to goal setting. And I want to just talk a little bit about that.
Yes, please go ahead.
Right. And so if we've created that vision, we'll be thinking of how to achieve it. So what we can do here is there is this framework we actually use, and I encourage people to use. It's called the 90 days goal.
90 days goal.
That 90 days goal. That
Okay.
is the best goal setting framework I know.
Okay.
Because what that does for you is you first of all come up with your wildest important goals, come up with your long-term goals and everything. You come up with them and you state them. So this now inspires you to see how you want to achieve them. And so you are encouraged to now break it down into 3 months, first 3 months. So you're not doing 12 months yet. You're just doing the first 3 months. And in that 3 months, the first month actually designs what you want to achieve in that first month. The second month, the same thing. The third month. And the good thing about that goal is it progresses. The first month is like the start stage. And the second month, you're adding on top of that. And the third month, you're adding on top of that. And once you're done, you actually write down the outcome. You spell out the outcome you want to achieve for every month. Once you're done with that, now it leads you on to the weekly goals. So it's from that pool you are able to create your weekly goals. And then from your weekly goals, you create your daily goals, because the framework is just there to guide you, to also make sure you are going along with your goals. You're not escaping it. You are holding yourself accountable. So it comes with the big goals, and then you break it down into smaller, actionable steps you can take, which plays out as weekly goals and as daily goals.
I think one of our greatest
Okay.
challenges
Mm,
is
mm,
consistency. Sometimes it could be
mm.
difficult to be consistent in achieving your goal. So, what do
Yeah.
we do to keep that drive or momentum going? Because we are humans,
Mm.
and sometimes we can just
True.
say, let me just not do it today. Before you know it, you're not doing it tomorrow. Before you know, you're not doing it for 5 days. And before you know it, that's it. You're done. So, some people created, what do you call it? This end of the year, beginning of the year,
New Year resolution.
New Year resolution. But after January, some people don't even get to January 30th and everything is gone. So how do we keep that momentum? Because I think the issue now is not setting the goal, but keeping
Yeah.
that momentum. So what can we do to keep that drive going?
Yeah, you're even right about the new year. Research shows that 80 something or 70 something% of the people who have a new year resolution never follow through. So
They
you're
don't.
very correct. All right. So how do we stay on track? How do we stay motivated in achieving our goals? That's a tricky one. But I understand that we must actually find ways to hold ourselves accountable. If it's to get people who are looking out for us, who they are not going to get you off the hook, who are going to really make sure that you are doing what you said you were going to do. So having those people in your life will help. And then in another case, when it comes to motivation, appreciating yourself, celebrating your wins is going to keep you going. Just like you said, that when you started paying attention to celebrating your wins, you found out that you were feeling more motivated, wasn't it?
Very, very true. Yes.
Yeah. So celebrating it. And then when you're doing that, you can look back and say to yourself, wow, I've done well. All right. I've gone halfway now. I think I can finish the rest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because sometimes you are making progress, but you don't know you are. And I think that's what
Mm,
celebrating your wins can help you realize that, wait a minute,
yeah.
you've achieved a lot. Okay, like let me use myself for an example. Typically, I close before December. I close a deal before December. Sometimes I close 2, 3 deals a year. But
Mm,
right now, I'm just closing my first deal for 2024 in a week. I'm going to close it in a week. Looking at my former me before we started this conversation, I would have said, oh, I've not achieved anything. Oh, no, this,
yeah.
that. But because I started sitting down to reflect about, no, wait a minute, I've not achieved those maybe 2 deals and all that right now. But yes, I'm closing this, but have I improved in other aspects? Have I grown my social media platform? Have I done this? Have I done that? I think the aspect of you sitting down and reflecting and celebrating yourself is very crucial,
It's a
critical.
game changer, I'm telling you. You
Yes,
never know until you start it. It's a
it
game
is.
changer. So if you're not doing that yet, you need to get on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you. The last question, what mindset shifts are necessary to transition smoothly from one year to the next with clarity and confidence? So in other words, how do we need to reposition ourselves, our mind, our thoughts in transition into the new year? Because
Great
we need to.
question. Yeah.
Yep.
Great question. Yeah. When we get to the end of the year, there's usually mixed feelings, especially for businesses or people who have set very high goals. So you're going to be feeling like you need to beat yourself up at some point. But the mindset we need to have at that place is self-compassion. Actually, that's my mission. That's what I want to teach leaders, because leaders are very hard on themselves.
Oh
It's
yeah.
because they are hard on themselves. That's the reason why they are hard on their team. They can't give themselves any compassion. So how can you give what you do not have, right? So self-compassion does a lot of good here. So that's the first mind shift we should have going into the new year. And then from there, when you start having self-compassion, you know what happens? You start feeling gratitude. You start feeling grateful. It surges like a wave, you start feeling it, and you stop paying attention to the things that have not happened, but the things that will happen. You're grateful for things that have earned wings. And that is a very good place. I think research shows that creativity comes from a place of gratitude. So if you are sad, if you're feeling defeated, you will not be creative in that place. But when you're feeling grateful, you're happy, you discover that you start feeling inspired, right? So you want to go into the new year feeling inspired. So the mind shape there, self-compassion, gratitude, and every other thing will follow. Optimism, enthusiasm, then this other one, which is success mindset. You will believe that you can do it, you can win, that this time around you're going to hit that goal. That's a mind shift we need to take into 2025. Those are the mind shifts we need for 2025.
Being positive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question from Nehemiah. His question is, I hardly
Yeah.
celebrate my wins and continuously beat myself over everything, despite achieving a lot. I think we're in the same category. This is really hard on me. What will I do to have a different perspective?
Okay, just as we were saying, now you are going to be doing the opposite of what you've always done, and you take baby steps with after now, or even this moment. I want you to just pause and just think about the fact that you made it for this webinar. That's a big win. That you're listening to this, that's a big win. And I want you to sit with this feeling and say, hey, Maya, you've done well. Okay, let's look at the whole year. The times that I thought I was going to be bedridden, the times that this happened, the times that happened. You discover that more things to really celebrate will start popping up. So let's start with now, where you are at and what you're doing now, and this moment. Celebrate this moment, and then you can start practicing it every day. So I would encourage you to take some time out every day. Maybe when you wake up in the morning, just find one reason to be grateful, and perhaps write it down in a journal. Even if it is one reason, that's a good step. That's some baby step, and as you keep doing it, you will build the habits, and before you know it, your neurology will be rewired. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I also think it's really about how we define success. Some of us, I think we define success as something that is very obvious, very magnificent, but we forget to realize actually the process that is the success and not necessarily the goal that is the success. For the fact that you've been consistently doing this, you might not have achieved it, does not mean you've not succeeded, but you've gained some experience. Like when I was starting my real estate journey, I started with single family and fix and flip, and it felt like I was going very slow. Till the time we transitioned into multifamily, smaller units multifamily, I felt I was slow. That why shouldn't I be doing 100 units? Why should I be doing 150 units? I defined that as very small. But guess what? Now that I'm doing bigger units, because of the little experience I picked up along the way, I think that is what is helping me achieve the kind of success I am achieving now, because the process that I went through had redefined me and all that. So I think we need to start redefining, what does success really mean? Really, what does it really mean? By the time we're able to, yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
It reminds me of perfection versus excellence. Perfection does not give you the room. Perfectionism does not give you the room to grow. It wants to make you do it and get it once. And if you do not get it once, you just keep trying and trying and trying. You're not having that mindset that you need to make some mistakes and grow from there. But excellence gives you room to make those mistakes, and then you grow from there. Liken it to perfectionism and excellence. We need to have that mindset, excellence instead of the perfectionism. Yeah.
That is another level. I didn't see that coming, but really that is it. Defining success as excellence, professionalism, and all that. I think by the time we have that shift, we'll begin to appreciate everything that we are doing. So thank you so much, my sister Joy Okobi, for taking our time to discuss with us, because so many people don't. When we were fixing this topic, it was very intentional, because forget multifamily. Multifamily is very emotional. It has a lot of emotion resilience attached to it. Be you a limited partner or an active partner, if you don't fix that aspect of it, you will not go far. Multifamily is a long-term game. It's not a get quick rich scheme. It's not. So if you don't have the emotional part of it sorted out, the patience part of it, the resilience part of it sorted out, my sister, you go nowhere. You'll just be where you are, and you even give up.
Okay.
And this is to the limited partners and also to the GP partners. And that is why we thought that this is the best time for us to have this kind of conversation. Yes, we didn't really talk about multifamily, but this is the core of it, this topic. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge and all that. So before we go, what is one thing you want to drop with the audience? And then after that, you tell us how we can reach you.
Thank you. Well, I will just sum it up again. Embrace self-compassion. You've done well. You you have done well up until now. You're still going. So just be kind to yourself and give yourself some love. Some love. Your inner world wants to hear you say, I love you and thank you. You're doing well. I'm sure that when you do that, you'll be feeling less pressure. I want you to try it out and see how it goes. So you let me know. So if you want to reach me, I'm going to drop my email, purejoy@gmail.com.
What about your social media and your
My
Instagram? Can
social
you
media, yes. Okay.
can you
And
say
yeah, it's Pure Joy. My Instagram is at Pure Joy. Pure
at
Joy.
Pure Joy?
At Pure Joy. And the joy is spelled Joiy. So
Okay, can you
it's
spell
not
the
just
entire?
it's PURE, J for joy, O orange, I India, and Y yellow, Pure Joy. And on Twitter as well, I've got Pure Joy. Then on LinkedIn is Joy Okobi.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Joe Kobe, for creating out this time to meet with us. So, audience, I hope you enjoyed this session, and don't forget to follow us and subscribe on our social media platform. We are Blue Ocean Multifamily Group on YouTube and Blue Ocean Multifamily Group on Facebook and Blue Ocean _ Multifamily Group on Instagram. And the reason why I think you should be part of this, why you should join, is because we provide you with content that can help you achieve your financial freedom. It's not just about multifamily, it's everything around it and everything multifamily as well. So you should please not just follow us, also like and share with people. And yeah, so we look forward to having you on our platforms. Thank you once again, Joe Kobe, for creating out this time to be with us. And thank you, my audience. Without you, there is no show, there's no event. Thank you all and have a wonderful day.